Hello and welcome. My name's Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind The Country Chic Cottage. Did you know that you can use infusible ink or sublimation markers to draw onto infusible ink sheets? It is possible, and we're going to talk about how to do that today. And I'm going to make a couple projects. So I'm going to make coasters as well as a mug as my example projects. However, this same technique can be used for a variety of sublimation blanks, polyester shirts, polyester fabrics, what have you. Now, I do recommend plain color infusible ink sheets. Now, Cricut makes infusible ink sheets, you can use those, and other brands make sublimation sheets as well. I do like the plain color sheets for this, or like watercolor pattern, something like that. Not something that isn't really busy for this project itself. However, if you want to experiment with busy patterns, by all means do so. And then I'm going to use infusible ink pens. However, you can use any sublimation pens you would like with this. Artistry makes sublimation pens, Caesar makes sublimation pens. Whatever brand that you have or like best definitely works with this same project. You just might need to trick your Cricut machine into actually accepting the pen. And I do have a video on how to use any pen with your Cricut machine, and I will link to that in the description below this video. So head there if you want to use a different brand of pen in your Cricut. So now all that's left to do is to pull out your infusible ink sheets and start drawing. Now I'm going to choose some floral designs in Cricut Design Space. I do recommend that you choose a design that is a single line design, so it's not truly an outline. Or you can do a design that is kind of an outline, maybe you like that look. Or you can use the pens after it draws to color in manually. I'm going to use a single line design that's already in Cricut Design Space, a floral design as my example. So let's head to our Cricut machine and see how to draw on infusible ink sheets. So just add your infusible ink to the mat just like you normally would. Infusible ink always goes with the carrier sheet side down on your mat. And you do always want to mirror your design in Cricut Design Space, because with infusible ink you always put it face down on whatever you're pressing on. Now the two designs I'm going to do here are both coasters as well as a mug design. Again, any design will work with this. And I'm going to have my Cricut machine both draw and cut. So draw the floral design and then cut around for my coasters or my mug. So once your infusible ink sheet is in your machine and your marker is installed, the Cricut machine does all the work for you. It draws and then it will cut out if you would like. One thing about layering the infusible ink sheets and the pens together is that the pen needs to show through the infusible ink sheet. So here the dark purple will show through the pink when applied to my mug and my coasters. If, for example, you had a black infusible ink sheet, you would not be able to find a marker that would show through that black. So you need to choose markers that are darker than your infusible ink sheet. And once it's done drawing, just remove the sheet from the machine. And then you'll remove that sheet from the mat. Then you'll need to weed your infusible ink. So weeding infusible ink can be a little tricky, however, it is definitely possible. So what you want to do is bend the infusible ink sheet until you hear almost an audible cracking noise. It will literally crack as you bend it, and that is just sort of the cut lines releasing from themselves. Once you've cracked it, and I do recommend bending in like both directions to crack it, then just peel away any excess around the outside of your infusible ink sheet. Once we have the infusible ink cut and weeded, it is time to press. Let's press the coasters first. We're going to clean them really well with a lint roller. And then we're going to apply the infusible ink sheet again face down on that coaster. And I'm going to use heat resistant tape to tape it into place. I like to use protective paper or butcher paper on both the top and the bottom when I press. Now you can use any heat press for these coasters. You would press according to the instructions for the set of coasters that you're using. Here I'm using Cricut coasters, however if you have a different brand, the instructions might be different. Once those are done pressing, you want to remove the infusible ink sheet. And remember, these coasters get extremely hot, so wear heat resistant gloves. You might allow the coasters to cool a bit before you peel back that sheet. Then you can see the gorgeous design with the pink infusible ink and then the purple infusible ink marker that I used to draw my designs onto that infusible ink sheet. So this is a great way to get a personalized design with infusible ink, and a great way to get a personalized sublimation design even if you don't have a sublimation printer. Now we're going to use the same technique to make a sublimation mug. Again, we're going to clean the mug really well with a lint roller and apply that infusible ink sheet that we cut with our Cricut machine and weeded away the excess. You can use tape to tape this into place, however your carrier sheet on your infusible ink might be sticky enough to hold it into place. And then you can put protective paper on the outside or not. sort of a personal preference here, as that backer sheet from the Infusible Ink will probably protect your mug press. Then here I'm using the Cricut mug press. And for this one, you don't need a timer and temperature with the Cricut mug press. You just press the handle down. When it beeps, it's done. Again, it will be really hot when it comes out, so allow it to cool a little bit, or use heat-resistant gloves. Peel back that Infusible Ink sheet and take a look at your gorgeous mug. Now, the coasters and the mug together make a great gift. You can put them in a gift basket to make a gift for someone, or you can use this same technique for other projects and other sublimation blanks to personalize gifts and so much more. So there you have some really cool ideas, even if you don't have a sublimation printer. Now this same technique will work on anything, and here I used Infusible Ink. Like I said, you can use other brands, and then you can use other sublimation blanks with this same technique. So branch out a little bit, from shirts to maybe a polyester blanket to maybe a microfiber towel like that you would use to wash your car, and you make it for a gift. So really think outside the box here. There's so much you can do with this technique, and you don't even need a sublimation printer for this one. Now, if you have a sublimation printer and you like the drawn look of these, you could print sublimation sheets one solid color, put those in your Cricut machine and allow the pens to draw onto that and then press them. So as long as you have the sublimation ink out of your printer and the sublimation pens or Infusible Ink pens, you could kind of combine the two methods together into one project there if you'd like the hand-drawn look and, you know, some design in Cricut Design Space that you're just in love with. This is a great way to get that out of there and onto something permanent like coasters with sublimation. So hopefully this helped you. I know I get a ton of questions about whether you can draw on the Infusible Ink sheets, and the answer definitely is yes. Yes, you can draw on the Infusible Ink sheets. And I really do love to use the Infusible Ink or the sublimation pens for tons of different craft ideas, this just being one of them. So if you have any questions about this method of using Infusible Ink markers, pens, and sheets, drop down in the comment section, ask away. If you liked this video, if it helped you, give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have videos just like this one every single week, and trust me, you don't want to miss any of those. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.